I want to see who from my high school class got engaged. Like that. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see some suggestion from some politics page that I've never like. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'm back when I was on. I used to use Twitter quite prolifically. I got off of that app. I want to say in like 21 or 22.
21. Same here.
Yeah,
I was
it
done.
was
Just done. It wasn't
it was.
just Elon
Oh
buying
my
it.
god.
It was all useless. I
It
never once got anything good out of it.
and I have real friends who I like real life friends who I met on that app. Um just from talking to them about stuff. And but when I was on, the time that I spent on that show did overlap with the time that I spent on the podcast. And so I would get into disagreements with people on there. And so from time to time, I was invited to go on other people's shows um, to like debate a topic with them. And that's not really something that I do because that's not the
I
way
like
that
it.
I really engage with other people. But if I were to do something like that, um, the way that I go about doing that is I have to set up ground rules first. So I have to say something like, "What would you have to be convinced of to see things the way that I see them, to see things my way?" And if you're in an argument with somebody and they're like, nothing could change the way that I think about this, and I'm like, well,
Don't want to talk.
there's no point in me having this conversation. But in order for, and it's the same if you're trying to really talk somebody down from a belief or something like that, then you have to be willing to offer that to them. You have to be willing to say, if I see if you can prove XYZ thing to me,
Me, then
then
you might convince me.
you might be able to convince me. And you can't just say something that would, I want to say,
It has to be true.
yeah, you
When
you
you say it,
can't
like
like you
you can't
can't
just
like
say it to set them up. Yeah,
yeah,
like I'm not really gonna listen to what you say,
you have
but
to engage people in good faith. You have to you have to ask somebody, why does this thing make you feel powerful or good or strong or fulfilled? What about it is the thing that makes you feel that way? Okay, well, how come? And ask, if you have legitimate questions about that, you have to ask them from a point of view of, this is an honest question, not from a point of view of attacking them. And that's
yeah,
what
yeah,
I think a lot of people
genuine.
really get wrong when they're trying to have conversations with other people about these things. Um, Granted, if you go into this situation where, say, they're part of a group and uh, their group is well known for various abuses, either like physical or sexual abuses of other people, um, then then I think that that's a different story than if somebody believes something and you think that they've been brainwashed into thinking something that you think is wrong.
There's
Like,
real harm.
right,
Yeah, versus
there's levels to
convincing.
this. Somebody thinking something that isn't true doesn't make them an occult. I know that I have beliefs, or that I think things that probably are, if I were to look at the facts, that fact isn't true.
Let's just say it, Bigfoot.
But yeah,
I, I believe there's no proof. There's no. I want to
I
believe.
mean, Sadie was taught in school that the Loch Ness monster is actually a plesiosaur that survived the flood of Noah, and scientists are covering up the existence of the Loch Ness monster because that would prove evolution. I mean, that would disprove evolution. It would prove creationism. She was taught that in school.
That wasn't thought all the way through, was it? Like I'm just thinking, there's a billion holes I could poke into that one. First off,
So no,
we'd have
what they're
all of the
saying,
aquatic dinosaurs. But anyway,
what they're saying is, they're saying that humans and dinosaurs were alive at the same time, and scientists don't want you to know that humans and
to know,
dinosaurs
yeah,
were alive at the same time because they want you to think it was millions and billions of years ago, when in
we were
reality
riding them
we were riding dinosaurs. And
seven
when the
days. It's a
flood
long
of
time.
Noah happened, the dinosaurs died out except for the plesiosaur, which is the Loch Ness monster which survived. And because it's from an era before the firmament was broken down, people lived a lot longer, and so that's why the plesiosaur has been able to survive thousands of years on Earth when other organisms that are less pure, because they're further from the time of creation happening, would have shorter lifespans.
What about crocodiles? Anyway,
Yeah.
that's
Maybe the
my perfect
Flintstones
dinosaur.
confused them.
And the
Checkmate.
Flintstones. Jeez, that was just propaganda by modern science to make
To
it
get their
sound
grants,
silly.
they got to get those grants to keep doing their
Hey,
research.
I have one more question for you that is not cult related, sort
Go
of.
for it.
But we're gonna, Josh, can you go through our quick what we got going on thing, and then we'll get to it. I want to tease people. It's going to be the best question of the night.
Oh, okay. I'm
Uh,
excited.
Josh, you
Yeah,
want to
sure.
run through this quick?
Yeah. Well, a week from today, we have.
Douglas Vermeeren, director, actor, producer. Doug was going to be on our show last year, and he's so busy. We're lucky to have him this year. He's going to have a lot of great. He's been in a billion things. Look him up on IMDb, and he also has a recent project, Science Getting Rich Quick movie, based on the book that was apparently very. I didn't get it yet, but it's a great big seller.
And then up on March 13th.
Rob Lawless. I believe he's also in the Philly area. Rob has a mission to make 10,000 friends across the world. I believe he's halfway through around now, and he actually meets people. He talks to them. He's not just writing up a blog post about it. We're going to meet him, talk to him about his journey, how all of this has changed his life. I've heard nothing but great stuff about it. I've seen his posts a lot. We're going to have him on the show. It's going to be amazing.
10,000 friends?
Yeah, actual people he meets and hangs out with for at least an hour.
5 or 6 friends.
I'm the older you get, the less you have. So I'm gonna get when he's in his 70s. How many you still have?
I'll tell you, I'm getting married next year, and I'm putting together like the guest list, and I'm just like, I don't know that many people. How did this
invite
list
Rob and see what he can bring with him?
Yeah. No, I can't do that, dude. It's so much money, and they charge you like per guest.
They do, but if you have a higher gift amount than you have in food amount, you can make it work. It's like the returning the bottles to Jersey thing.
I don't know how he would like if that guy gets married. How is he going to invite everyone? How is he going to do it?
It's going to be a stadium tour.
I mean, imagine the catering. The catering bill is going to be
alone
immense.
The porta potty bill. The porta potty bill alone. Yeah.
He'll have to get married at the I guess if he's in Philly, the Wells Fargo Center.
It'd have to be that big. Yeah. I hope he. Yeah. I can't wait. I'm going to ask that question, and I'll put your name on it too. Hey, if you get married, are you inviting all these people? Or are you?
I mean, if he's that friendly, he's probably already married. Who could resist?
I honestly don't know. I've done some research, and I don't have that info. But either way, your question's getting asked.
Right.
Next, Josh.
March 20th.
Kamal Ahmed. You know Kamal if you're anywhere near my age anyway. One of the Jerky Boys, who's now on doing a much bigger, interesting thing. Is Crash the System is a show he's currently working on, writing and producing his own show. He's done a couple other things, including Laugh Killer Laugh. And we get to talk with him about his life before and after the Jerky Boys. We're not going to sit and just talk about Jerky Boy stuff. You're going to get to know Kamal. And what do we have after that? Oh,
well, we just wanted to give a quick shout out as well to friend of the show,
Eric Violette. Go to violette.com. If you're a subscriber on his Patreon, you could download the album that he has just released. You can get it, I think it comes out on March 6th, but you can get it now. Eric is an amazing musician who specializes in soundscapes. This is just some amazing work. He spent years doing this album. I've listened to a lot of it. It is great. Give him a shot. And if you don't recognize the name Eric Violette, if you remember the freecreditreport.com commercials, he was the lead singer in that band.
No.
Yeah, he doesn't sound like that at all. He has a very thick French accent. It was all some other beat. Yeah. But he's that guy.
Dude.
We had him on the show, and absolutely one of our best guests of all time. He's an incredible person.
A lot of fun.
So yeah, I like interesting people. Like when I found out like he would talk to me, I'm like, "You're coming on the show." And he's incredible guest and an amazing human being. On top of it all, he's just somebody like if you watch that interview, you'll want to hang out with Eric. He's a positive ray of light, and that there's no sarcasm in that sense at all. I swear.
No.
Speaking of positive ray of lights, the last question. You are a musician on the side, if you don't mind talking about it. And on your website, you talked about doing backing vocals, performing with a very famous musician, Ben Folds. I was just curious if you could tell us how you got there and what that was like in your life.
Oh man, that must
That's
that
awesome.
was like 10 years ago. So I always did music. I started doing piano lessons when I was like 6. And when I was in like high school, I joined choir, and I also started playing guitar. So, and so that was just something that I got into. And then when I went to college on a voice scholarship, on a singing scholarship.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So when I said your voice is good, you're like, I know.
So when I was in college, I believe my senior year, the vocal jazz group that I was in was the person who was Ben Folds was on tour, and he was trying to and they were trying to get backing vocalists to sing, because he was doing a tour where he was singing with orchestras. And this was, I believe, in like 2014. And so they would hire the guy who was one of the people who was getting the musicians to come to like hiring the singers, was an alumni from my university. And so that's how I ended up with that gig. I think he came to our director of choral activities and was like, need singers for this. And that's how I ended up getting to do that. But I did get to sing with Ben Folds like 10 years ago. And that was a lot of fun. It was a great gig. Yeah.
It's got to be a great gig. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Very nice dude.
Did you get to practice and hang out first, or was it like you practiced separate and you kind of came out on stage?
I mean, if you're doing that sort of thing, like we had rehearsals, and we had to basically like learn all the music beforehand. And then there's like you go there and you do like a rehearsal. You do like rehearsals with it, and then you actually do it, and then there's the show. So it's not like it's not like I'm best friends with Ben Folds.
No.
I have him on LinkedIn or anything. But
you did a job.
I did a job. And I think I did a good job. So
that's awesome. First off, I love. Let me wrap this up by saying, first off, thank you for being on the show. Incredible guest, incredible
knowledge. Thanks for having me, man.
I'd love to have you back at some point, because we have a billion.
I will come back. Maybe I'll get Sadie to come on the show. You'd love to talk to her. She's so smart. She'll tell you all sorts of things. Like, she'll tell you about what it was like going to Colt College, because she went to Colt College.
We'll call the episode that.
Yeah,
that's.
I'll tell her that she's got to come on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, please, love to. I think it's an important topic, because we like to talk about relationships here, and not just the romantic kinds. And cults impact your life, obviously, in every way possible. And if you know somebody in a cult, it impacts your life too. So I like to bring it up. Again, we don't want to concentrate on it. That's your job. And can you throw up the URL again, Josh? That way people know how to get in touch with you. All right. There we go. Also, if you follow our show on Instagram, I am following you. Sorry, my brain's falling apart doing the wrap up. I just love what I wanted to get at was I really love your passion for the things you love and how you get to take it to the next level. You have taken your music to play with a name everybody knows. You have, and by the way, on your website, there's some great songs to listen to, and we did listen to them. So
thank you.
At least I did. I don't know if Josh.
I haven't put out new music in years. I record music from time to time, but a lot of times I record stuff and I just like I don't do anything with it. either that or I'll record something and I just won't like the way that it sounds enough to the point
Just
where I
one
won't put
little.
it out. Yeah. Or just like I like performing live more than I like recording. And so I'll play a lot of open mics in the Philly area, but rather than like really trying to track and release music, because that just it isn't as much fun for me as it is just playing for an audience.
I totally get that.
Right.
I absolutely get that. The whenever you're creating a song or music, like you want to get everything right, and then there's one thing you want to get to. Like I'll do that, but I'm not in the headspace to fix that one thing, or to add the thing I wanted or remove. And then like you just put it
Yeah.
off, and then like it's good enough, and it's not good enough, and you don't get back to it.
Or the technology these days with recording is so good that it can always be better. That everything that you do, oh man, I could do another take, and what are you going to do? Just do another
One more
take, and
time.
then you just one more time, one more time, one more time, and
Oh,
you
I
just
hear the
never get
slide
it
on
to.
the strings too much. I
Yeah,
need to get that out of there the next time. And yeah,
no, exactly. It's like, oh, is that a buzz on the front? Whereas if I'm playing live, you do it once, and
that
that's
stuff helps
that's the
make a
one that
live
people hear.
performance.
And I've always felt that whenever I was listening to music as a kid, my favorite album by all my favorite artists was always the live one. And not just because
Really?
they would always play like the best songs, like they would always play the most famous songs live, but also because I always thought the live albums had so much more energy. Like I was thinking about this, I was raised on like a lot of the folk music from the 60s and the 70s, and I think one of my favorite albums ever that I was always listening to, or that my dad always had on, was the Central Park concert from Simon and Garfunkel, and that album is just so good, and I listen to it all the time. um but they could
I
only
get
do
that.
that once. They couldn't do it in the studio over and over and over again. They could practice it a bunch of times, but once you go out there, that's the one that everyone hears, and that's the one they're filming.
Hey, Chuck Berry's only #1 hit is a live recording.
Oh,
My
really?
Ding-a-Ling.
Ugh, not his best song.
It's his only #1 song.
That's
It's
disappointing.
amazing, but it's a live recording, and like I don't know.
He made
You brought up the
Maybelline.
trivia thing in my brain.
He made Maybelline. He made Johnny Be Good, and
So
his
many other,
only.
so many other.
But
I love the lyrics of
Dingaling
My
was a.
Ding-a-Ling. It's a throwaway novelty song.
You
But it
also
was only
couldn't
#1.
have Dingling in a studio. Like that's not a studio
You
song.
can't.
That
Yeah,
has
you're
to
right.
be, yeah. You have to have that audience reaction to make that song what it is.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's a bad Dr. Demento song you hear once a year.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to novelty songs?
I don't know. I'm still trying to release them with AI music, and people just don't care. Speaking of,
All right.
I grew up. In fact, when I met my wife, within 3 weeks, she had mentioned that she too had listened to Dr. Demento as a kid, and I knew she was the one. You
Oh,
know,
that's where we got Weird Al.
yeah.
Mhm.
I'm kind of Weird Al adjacent with some stuff I've done. I sold a Weird Al autobiography on the Pawn Stars TV show, and then he played that clip at the beginning of his big tour a couple years ago.
No
I
way.
was
That's
I
pretty
was on the
awesome.
screen at Weird Al concerts.
I love Weird
But
Al. When I was a kid, I was not into whatever the most popular music was. There's a lot of songs where I heard the Weird Al version of the song before I
oh
heard the
yeah,
actual version. Because in the 80s, my dad was in medical school and my mom was in grad school. And so they didn't, that the 80s was just like a pop culture hole for them. And
oh,
so I was like, well, yeah. And so like I would listen to Weird Al and I'm like, what is this song based off of? And then I would be like, oh, it's Madonna. But my Madonna albums were never on when I was growing up. So I heard Weird Al's Like a Surgeon before I heard Like a Virgin by Madonna.
wow. Madonna's first album put me through puberty. Like that, like my friend and I would just stare at the album cover. I want a girl like that. Like that's who
Very
you can't,
talented,
get
great
away from.
artist.
I love a large chunk of her career. In the early years, I can't stand her voice until she learned how to sing. I like the music, I like the look, but I to this day I can't listen to her voice. And then when she got really good, and then now I don't know anything about what she's doing now. So
Yeah.
there was a chunk where I really loved her deep, resonant voice when she showed it off. In the early albums, she was very high pitched. She's not doing anything vocally correct, and it shows.
So you're not a fan of like Material Girl. You're not a fan of
No,
like a Virgin. You're not a fan of.
I like them for
Oh,
nostalgic reasons, not
okay.
because they're good songs. Right, I can't remember the one song when I really took an interest in who she was as an artist. Anyway, we're way off topic.
Yeah.
We're at the end of the show, and I did want to announce a special show we have Saturday before we forget. I don't know if we have the graphic up for it. There it is. Anyway, we're interviewing Uwe Boll on Saturday about his new movie, The Dark Knight. Yes, The Dark Knight. He's going to keep that name if I have anything to say about it, which is the 4th movie in the Rampage series. So tune in for a special show. It's will take place at noon Eastern Standard Time here in the States. He's calling us from Germany. So it's a special Saturday show. We do whatever Uwe wants. So we're doing it on Saturday. So tune in for that. And I think we have one more booking, but it's going to be a surprise that we'll throw it out at the Uwe show when we have everything nailed down. And that's it. I want to thank you, Gavi, for showing up on our show and giving us so much. Loved having you. You're an absolute delight to talk with. Love to call you a friend of the show, and would love to have you and your co-host back.
Hell yeah.
This was really great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, literally anytime, just whenever you want.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for your knowledge, for your time, for everything. Let's get out of here, Josh.
Have a good night.
Oh my goodness, that is quite a question.
Oh, you are so funny. That is so true. You're like the only person that's ever asked me that question.
I'm really glad that you noticed that you pointed that out.
So I just want to give you a shout out and say it's appreciated.
It's been so fun chatting with you guys. I didn't realize how late it got.
I'll always talk to you guys.
Thanks very much. And again, you guys are super well prepared. You got your act together. I hope you continue to get more viewers. You deserve them.
You guys, you are the first podcast to bring this up, and I'm impressed. I'm really impressed.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great one. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Be safe out there. Treat each other well.